Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's your boy Marvin. Going to be talking about Kensington, Philadelphia in America, about the drug problem there, the tranquillizer drug, which they call Trang or xylazine or xylazine. It is a drug which basically is sort of taken over the crack scene in America. I have read a lot of documentaries and over the last few years, but it seems to be getting worse there, and it makes you wonder what the government and police are doing about it. But it's a very, very powerful story. So I'm going to start it, and I'm going to comment on it as you go. Yeah, and it's Marvin from Streamline Entertainment. Thank you.
So we are all aware of the drug epidemic going on throughout the US. We are seeing the complete degradation of society. Lots of rampant drug use. We see it happening in parts of Seattle and Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and the list goes on and on. And of course, right up with those cities is the infamous Kensington, Philadelphia. So what is going on here in Kensington? How have things...
When I first started seeing these videos, I think maybe about just before COVID, people were filming and going around. I was actually thinking, is this a scene out of a movie or something like that at the end of it? Because I was seeing little clips and I thought, no, this can't be true. They've got to be acting. But I didn't realise how bad it was and what an epidemic it is. The drugs there, and when I knew the full story about Kensington, Philadelphia, it is heart wrenching because, like I said, so many people cannot get out of this hole and this grip on this drug. This horse tranquilizer will eventually kill them.
It's gotten this bad, this widespread crime, virtually lawless streets, record unemployment, and a completely wide open drug market. Why did it happen here? Why is it so concentrated in this area? And when did all this start? Wow. A war zone.
If you hear the sirens in the background, it's constant. They're just constantly going.
So this is modern Kensington, Philadelphia. This is the modern age. This is what is happening down here.
On an everyday basis.
Like you just said, it looks like a third world country. Garbage, needles everywhere, garbage everywhere. What happened to this place? Why is Kensington specifically so bad? And is it even reversible, or is it possible?
I don't know.
Myself and Journey with Jay have been coming down here a lot over the course of this past year.
Yes.
Many times, just talking to people and exploring different areas and seeing what was going on. And so we've compiled, both of us have compiled all kinds of crazy footage that we're going to show you. We're going to show you what it's like here.
I had a friend who actually came over here. I think he came over to study. I think his parents were quite wealthy, but like I said, he lived not far from Kensington. He's from Philadelphia, and he was telling me, and this is going back to the early 90s, how rough it was then, and that Philadelphia is on a downward spiral, and that was 28 years ago. So it makes you wonder why it's hit an all-time low now.
Here, you're going to be blown away by this. an out-of-control situation. Drugs, crime, poverty. Life in Kensington is not easy or safe. But it wasn't always like this. Back in the day, there was an economic boom in Philly, with the textile and carpet manufacturing, just to name a couple. And people came to fill the need for workers in those factories. And it was a real melting pot of working class citizens. But a downturn in manufacturing happened here in the 60s and 70s, and those employment needs soon dried up. In fact, by 1975, about 75% of those industrial jobs and businesses were gone, moved away, or simply went out of business. And then came the poverty, the drugs, the crime. The 1970s, it was speed and cocaine, sold by city gangs and supplied by the mafia. The 1980s was the crack epidemic. And the 1990s came the heroin craze. A high-purity, snortable heroin flowed into this area and took over. And the drugs and violent crime grew like a cancer. And of course, that didn't just happen here, it was happening all over the country. But for Kensington, it was the combination of mass unemployment, an endless supply of abandoned houses and buildings to live in and use as drug houses. It was a perfect storm. Kensington.
This, it's amazing how, a city could be, have work, warehouse work and stuff, and it just goes, and it's just been on the downfall trodden ever since. It's pretty sad because if you're from there, it seems like to me you've got no hope, especially if you're trying to make ends meet, and you see most of that city uh, drug on drugs and in poverty. It's just unbelievable. It really is shocking. You see a city like this. I know you get drugs everywhere. I could accept that, but in every city. But to see this like this, zombified. I mean, even if they come off the drugs, this horse tranquilizer must have damaged their bodies in more ways than one. They'll never be the same as it was before, even if they did come off it, and they're more likely to come back on it again.
Became a virtual, lawless drug paradise for those who partook. And into the 2000s, the pain pill epidemic, opioids, as it was becoming famous for its lawless, open-air drug market. And you will find everyone down here, all walks of life, kids, parents, fathers, mothers, and it's a dangerous area, plagued with crime, drug dealers, drug users, sex workers, thieves looking to take advantage from anyone at any time. Yes, life in Kensington definitely comes with a price. What's your view on the how Philadelphia's handling the epidemic and everything?
It's ridiculous that the city lets this go on like this, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, come on.
The police, they don't really do anything as far as like the
Like,
open
people
drug
are
use?
People are shooting up on the corners. They walk right by them, drive right by. They don't stop you. They don't arrest you, nothing. And really, if you get arrested for buying drugs, they just take you down to the precinct and let you go.
Wow.
Now, yeah, they used to arrest you, but now if you're a buyer, they just like talk to you about like getting into rehab and stuff.
Okay.
And then they let you go.
Gotcha.
So.
And how are
Unbelievable. Arrest them, then let them go back on the streets to take more drugs and kill themselves. It's a catch-two situation where they're going round and round and round in circles. And to be honest, the only way they're going to get out of it is getting out of that city and the system we're in by moving away. And a lot of them ain't going to do that.
things on the street 6 years compared to now?
It's gotten a lot worse.
A lot
A lot
worse.
worse. I say the past 2 years, like since the pandemic, it's been crazy out here with the shootings and now there's like serial rapists out here. Supposedly, they had the massacre shooting not that long ago. The 9 people got shot. I mean, people just randomly are shooting like during the day, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy.
Wow.
And they don't care. My girlfriend just got killed at the park, like 4th of July weekend. She got hit by a stray bullet. She was just getting her apartment and going to rehab like the next day, her and her boyfriend, and she got hit, 1 bullet killed her. So I've lost a lot of people out here. I know a lot of people have died.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera or use any fancy editing.
So this is McPherson Square. Most people just know the park, as the center of everything, but it's a whole area. It's probably 10 blocks.
When watching this video, I was just thinking it's just in one place, maybe, one street. But it all seems to be all over Kensington and South Kensington. I've watched maybe 20 to 30 documentaries and read up a little bit about basically Kensington and South Kensington, and it's getting worse. And I don't think the government or the council there are going to do anything time soon to actually control this drug. I think they've just let it go, and it just seems like Kensington City, where it's lawless and people do what they want to do, and the police don't really want anything to do with it as long as it's not affecting them, which is pretty sad.
Blocks of, it's more than 10 blocks, but a concentrated 10 blocks of lots of drug use along Kensington Ave especially, but, a lot of these streets are really not good. So oddly enough, in the center of McPherson Square is the Free Library of Philadelphia. I don't know if anybody even goes to this. I mean, you have to literally walk through the crowd of drug users to get in here.
So we can see here the libraries and parks are just filled with people taking drugs. The streets, are a shithole, should I say. People living outside in tents, rubbish all over the place. People just sitting out every day, just taking drugs and waiting for their time to pass. It's pretty sad. It really, really is sad. It seems to have taken a lot of lives, this drug as well, which is sad.
And yet, even crazier than that, is that there is a playground just behind the library. The children who grew up here are exposed to this environment. They see it and they hear it every day of their lives. There was a changeover at some point where the heroin really...
What chance of the kids have growing up in an area like this? If their parents are doing it or someone they know that's doing it, they've got no chance. It seems like it's going to start being sort of a generation thing. It's like what he said. It's like, the parents are out there, the sons and daughters are out there. It just seems like a city in disarray, and it's gone that far with drugs. It doesn't seem like there's no way back unless the government put millions and millions of pounds in it, and I just don't in sorting it out and counselling, and I don't think they're going to do that. And I don't think a lot of these people, they're so far gone, they're not going to listen anyway. Lawless Philadelphia, Kensington.
Really became more fentanyl. And now there's this stuff, they call it trank, and it's, I think it's called xylazine. It's basically like a horse tranquilizer. It's not really made for human consumption, but for some reason it's in the drugs here, and that's what gives people, they get these really nasty open sores, and it's from that xylazine. So you see a lot of that down here, those sores and everything. It's really sad. All right, so I'm going to take you over to see if there's any sex workers out right now and show you what that looks like over there. There's a sex worker about to get in. You can see her feet standing there at the passenger side door. Probably discussing how much money. Yep, now she's getting in. A lot of prostitutes down in this street, this area here, this strip. Now they're pulling off.
A lot of these girls out here are like, have been doing it since they were like 12, 13 years old. I've seen them with their mothers too.
How does that work? They're both working out here? Wow.
I've actually seen a mother.
That's just some crazy stuff. Mother and daughter out on the game, selling their bodies probably for drugs. That's just unbelievable. That's why I said it just becomes like a generation things. That sort of buzz to get the next rush, which is killing them. There was a guy being interviewed, and he says that this drug, this animal tranquilizer Trang, it makes people crazy real fast, and it's a silent killer. And those words really, really hit home. It makes crazy. People go crazy real fast, and it's a silent killer. Those words really, really stayed with me. That's, like I said, that's really sad.
Mother and a daughter and a father also. And the father was like waiting for his daughter to get back from a date.
Wow.
That's crazy.
This one's been circling my car a bunch. But I am not interested in such activities. No, I don't think so. this is not far from Kensington Ave. This is actually Lehigh. And from what I read, this was really where everybody was living. And then at some point, the city came in, and they cleaned this all out. From what I read, it was they forcibly removed everyone out of here, cleaned all the tents out, all the mattresses, everything. And as a result, they all moved up just a couple blocks over, and now they're basically all around that main park, the one that's nicknamed Needle Park. Now, to be
It just reminds me. It just seems like a movie. Like it's not real when they're living under, bridges and near railway tracks. It's just nuts. Just miles and miles of rubbish of yesterday years. It's unbelievable how it's allowed to get this bad. But if there's no job opportunities in that city, you're living in mayhem. Even if you want to get out of it, you can't unless you've got some money or unless your family's got money. It's seriously, seriously sad. Really sad. Real sad.
clear, I believe this happened in 2017. The problem with homeless addicts on the streets has been ongoing for long before that, decades before that. Yeah, someone's living room. But this was a huge influx of homeless living on the streets, living under the bridges on those streets. Oh yeah, they're all over the place here. Outdoor living. Jeez. So as Jay was pointing out, the sound you're hearing are scrappers that are up on the bridge, and they go and they steal whatever they can find, fans or whatever somebody leaves outside or in their garage, and then they bring it down here and they rip it all apart. The scrapping place is right here. So they just rip it all apart up on the bridge, and then they throw all the plastic down off the bridge. Occasionally it gets set on fire too, but that's what that all is.
So I used to do that. You take the engines and the copper wire, and the wire,
It makes me wonder why the councils or the government in the area doesn't just clean this stuff up, especially if the kids going down there. But it just seems like the councils have just given up on that part of the city. It's disgusting. It really, really, really is. Is that there's no one really helping the people unless you really want to go off. It's like the lady was saying, they get arrested and then a few hours later they're back on the street doing what they got arrested for. It's just a merry-go-round.
all that stuff, and you get more value. Because if you just take it in like that, they got to pay somebody in the scrapyard to rip it apart.
Gotcha.
Assemble it, so they give you less money.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. This was a street that not too long ago was filled with homeless people. And what happens is the police come through and they clean them all out. But they don't, obviously the garbage doesn't get cleaned out, so then there's just tons and tons of rats and small animals eating all the feces and food that's left behind. I don't know where these people go. I guess they just move on.
Must think living outside as well, in the dirt and like feces and stuff like that. There must be a lot of diseases going around as well, and where obviously people can't afford to look after themselves, ill health must be rife there. Truly, obviously with the drug taking as well.
I mean, it's a lot colder now than I was here. So we're going on through the months here now. It's winter time. I've been here in the spring, the summer, and the fall. So I don't know what happens. I guess they just kind of find warmth wherever they can. Another huge factor as to why the Kensington area is in the state that it's in is this. At one time in this area, the textile and the steel industry was booming. And a lot of people that lived in the Kensington area worked in these factories, worked in these buildings. And when these businesses dried up or moved away, this is what's left. There's people, they didn't have jobs. I mean, that's one of the factors. There's obviously other factors, but that's definitely a huge one. There's a lot of this in this area.
It seems like a lot of the businesses had moved out decades ago, and it wasn't replaced with other businesses. It seemed like a lot of the businesses that were there that are probably still alive had gone into other cities and foreseen this happening and got out. And it doesn't seem that Kensington had ever repaired itself. We're talking decades and decades and decades. And it's become a cycle now where the parents are on it, their daughters are on it, they grew up, their daughters are on it, or their sons are on it. It's pretty sad. It really, really is. But this is sometimes a part of life we don't actually see. I know basically we see some parts of London which are poverty stricken, but this is the next level stuff at the end of the day. Yes, we've got people on crack and cocaine and whatnot, but to see it at this degree is very, very disturbing.
How are things at night here compared to the daytime?
It's really scary at nighttime. I try to stay out of nighttime, although there's more money at night.
So what are you doing to kind of protect yourself from that?
I just try to stick with people that I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of keep your wits about you and...
Yeah, don't really go with strangers. If I get a bad feeling, just get out of the car.
Yeah. Indeed, nighttime is a completely different animal here. Like most crime-ridden areas, things get more dangerous under the cover of darkness. Gone are the everyday citizens and business owners. And what's left are miscreants, homeless, people that are just up to no good. Carjackings and muggings are definitely more prevalent here at night. And people that live in this area try to stay inside when the sun goes down, because you never know what could be lurking around the corner. And it's not fun driving around here at night, but I at least wanted to give you a feel for it, a sense of what it's like driving around here after hours.
I think this is like pretty much ground zero. They don't care about us down here at all. There's so many people with diseases, and I mean, but at the same time, they enable it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they feed them, they clothe them. They don't need to go anywhere else.
That's
they
true.
don't want to go get help. They have everything right here, and
Yeah.
they have they give out samples all the time.
Yeah.
It's like they don't need to go. They're not hitting their rock bottom. You know what I mean?
And you kind of need that to get out, right?
You do. Like, if you're not hitting your rock bottom, if you're not desperate, you're not going to see that this shit is garbage.
So what is the future for Kensington? Is there even a light at the end of this dark tunnel? There have been many attempts by the city's government to turn things around over the years. New policies, millions of dollars, and good intentions have all failed. And that's not to say that there aren't countless organizations and volunteers working down here. At any given day, there are mobile dentists down here, doctors. There are people cleaning the streets, handing out blankets and clothing. There's even a questionable weekly needle exchange here that many argue is only enabling the problem. But clearly it's not going to reverse or fix what is happening here. It's band-aids over bullet wounds, really. The Badlands, as sometimes Kensington is referred to. Maybe there isn't a way to fix this. For now, Kensington remains a sad and dangerous place. And it probably will be for many years to come.
What a sad story. But like I said, it's true to life. I mean, the narrator there was basically actually going through Kensington, and you could see how run down the people talking had given up. It's like a nightmare which will never end. And like he said, that they put millions of basically pounds into changing Kensington, but it'll, it's still the same now, and it seems to be getting worse. And this uh, xylazine, it's absolutely terrible. And once again, what that guy said, it's a hard drug. It's worse than crack. It's a silent killer, and it makes people go crazy real fast. That's really scary. But it sort of, we're living. Well, I'm living in the UK, and it just makes me think sometimes that my parents were good in my upbringing at the end of the day, and to see this, it does broaden your horizon, that you are grateful to what you've got. But like I said, I am going to keep an eye on this, and I hope that the government and the councils try and sort this out as soon as possible. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment, and thank you for following me, Marvin. Thanks.